It's 8 p.m. in Banjul. This is the news. First, our top stories. The Janneh Commission resumes investigations into the financial dealings of former President Jammeh. The Vice President lays the foundation stone of a $20 million power plant in Brikama. Egypt tries to restore Russian tourist flights to the country's resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh, and thousands of young Africans choose China for their education. These and other stories coming ahead in the next half hour. I am Jaina Baijalo. The Commission of Inquiry has resumed sittings into the financial dealings of former President Jammeh. Fatou Janembai has more on that.
Proceedings of the Commission of Inquiry, headed by Chairman Surahata Jammeh, continued today at the Jembe Hotel. As summoned, witnesses appeared to give their testimonies before the inquest and general public. The former Secretary General and Presidential Affairs Minister Kalilu Bayo opened the day's hearings. He was questioned about the purchase of gold coins by former President Jammeh, who conducted the transaction through the Gambia National Petroleum Company's dollar account at the Guarantee Trust Bank. The said gold coins were said to have been earmarked for the 20th celebration of the July 22nd revolution.
The commercial invoice from TK Export was for 75 gold coins at a unit price of $1,725. Do you know whether these gold coins were delivered?
I now remember about this negotiation.
Yes.
But I cannot be sure whether they were delivered or not. Not sure.
Can you tell us what was the purpose of the gold coin? I know it was ordered in respect of the July 22nd celebration.
Yes.
But what was it going to be used for?
Well, sometimes ex-president has his own imagination about things and goes ahead with it. I don't know specifically what he wanted to use his gold coins for.
Mr. Bayo?
Yes, please.
In terms of FI guidelines and from your knowledge and experience, is it normal for a president to be a signatory to a corporation account?
Let me put it this way. You cited my experience. According to my experience, the president should not be a signatory to any account.
Guarantee Trust Bank's Managing Director, Balaji Ayodele, was summoned to provide transaction documents of several companies and to further supply names of the various accounts held by the ex-president. The accounts in question include a Dalasi and euro accounts operated on the various signatories, which the commission requested as well.
First was Zidane Hussein.
Can you spell it, please?
Zeine Hussein.
Okay.
Who was a signatory 22nd November 2005, but was deleted on the 8th of June 2007. The next person is Hamad Berry. Hamad Berry was introduced as signatory on the 23rd of May 2006, but was deleted on the 8th of June 2007. The next person is Amadou Samba, who was added on the 22nd of November 2005 to date.
The Commission members also received the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, in connection with Mahindra Tractors. He was additionally tasked to provide more documents and information before the government to protect Galia assets.
The Cabinet has been briefed about all the arbitrations that the Gambia, the new administration has inherited. And of course, the initial policy direction was that we try and settle all these arbitrations and not really proceed with, with them, based on, of course, the strengths and weaknesses of, the government's case in the respective arbitrations. And
hearings at the Commission of Inquiry continue tomorrow, with more witnesses set to appear before the inquest into the financial dealings of former President Jammeh. Reporting for GRTS proceedings.
The Vice President Adja Fatoumatta Jallow Tambajang Wednesday laid the foundation stone for the construction of a power plant worth $20 million in Brikama, Kabafita. The two 10-megawatt engines are expected to significantly increase NAWEC's power generation capacity. By Ibrahim Cham has more on that.
This development comes amid the most challenging times for the water and electricity company. It is one giant step meant to restore uninterrupted power supply, particularly in the Greater Banjul area. The construction of the power engine plant is expected to be completed in January 2019. The managing director of NAWEC confirmed that his company has been faced with the most uncertain times, but added NAWEC is working to ensure it meets the demands of its customers.
The government of the Gambia, in collaboration with the NAWEC management and other relevant stakeholders, ensured proper reassessment of the country's power sector and prepared a sector roadmap to reaffirm government's vision for this all-important sector. The primary focus of the roadmap is on the least cost power development plan. In the short term, we have outlined an emergency plan for 2017. The main features of the plan in the Greater Banjul area are fast-tracking of capacity expansion through rehabilitation and new engines to reach the minimum 70 megawatts by the end of the calendar year.
Energy Minister Fafa Sanyang mentioned that despite the inherited problems from the previous regime, the new Gambian government, with the support of Senelec, are successfully supplying parts of rural Gambia with uninterrupted electricity.
The Brikama Power Extension project is the biggest single generation project ever undertaken by NAWEC and the government of the Gambia. It comprises of two generating units of 10 megawatts each. It is expected to significantly address the acute generation gap of NAWEC, leading to excessive power rationing. Once completed, the 20 megawatt additional capacity will enable NAWEC to ensure adherence to maintenance schedules of other engines, thereby reducing pressure on them.
For her part, Her Excellency the Vice President Adja Fatoumatta Tambajang, who deputized the President, said that when the new government assumed power in December 2016, they vowed to end indefinite power shortage, and that today the government is taking significant strides to deliver on their promise.
We prioritize energy in our agenda because we know it is a foremost basic right, just as other speakers had said. It is the basis for wealth creation, employment, and improvement on social service delivery. We shall leave no stone unturned to implement what our people want. We shall never relent on our side.
This is one of the many steps being taken by the government to address the energy needs of the country. For GRTS News, I'm by Ibrahim Cham.
Meanwhile, the Vice President has challenged Gambians at home and abroad to come forward and lend a hand in the development of the country. She was speaking at a forum called the Gambia in Transition Expert Conference on Governance, Human Rights and Development. Seni Marina has the rest of the story.
2017 marked the beginning of a critical turning point for the Gambia as it undertook a complex process of transition from dictatorial rule to a desired system of meaningful democratic participation guided by good governance and rule of law. Lead and spearheaded by Dr. Abdul Jeng, the founder of the Center for Research, Development and Social Justice, the Gambia in Transition Expert Conference on Governance, Human Rights and Development is an opportunity to re-evaluate and make recommendations that will strengthen public institutions, shape development pathways, and provide partners to facilitate mechanisms to expand the rule of law in the Gambia. Vice President Madam Tambajang said the Gambia government under President Barrow remains committed to providing a resourceful environment to spur growth in all sectors.
This government, under the leadership of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, remains committed in providing the creative environment for the development of the Gambia in all sectors, and with no one left behind. Like as many difficult journeys, getting there will not be any easy. In fact, for most part of this journey, our collective patience will be tested to all limits. But all we should do is to be patient, to be hardworking, to work together as a nation to achieve our milestone.
The founder of the center explained the objective of the two-day expert conference.
The successful implementation of the transition would fundamentally hinge on the formulation of realistic strategic visions that are capable of addressing past wrongs and moving the country forward. The conference is just one of many opportunities to help us engage through constructive conversations and the parameters upon which we can actually rebuild our national institutions. But however, I must emphasize that this conference is not a substitute to those legitimate state institutions whose responsibility it is to shape policy and guide the governance process. Rather, this conference is primarily focused on complementing ongoing initiatives.
Falun Jai, coordinator of the Gambia's new think tank, said the development group will partner with the center to pursue government development agenda.
The think tank, as I said, would provide advisory support to government, but it would also help government to develop what we call a national blueprint that would provide a sense of direction and hope for the country and would mainly be addressing issues of democracy, respect for human rights, enhancing the rule of law, and also winning the fight against corruption.
A key objective of the conference is to complement the ongoing initiative and provide technical expertise that will contribute to national dialogue on relevant issues by formulating a clear and detailed blueprint to support government initiative and civil society aspirations. Sini Marena for GRTS News.
The Ministry of the Interior, with support from the International Organization for Migration, has gathered development partners for a consultative forum on the global impact of migration. The program was meant to address issues of irregular migration and ways of creating opportunities for young people. Kumbaba reports.
The stakeholder meeting was meant to discuss ways of addressing irregular migration. The Gambia has a sizable number of high young people who have embarked on the risky journey to Europe using the Sahara Desert. Authorities are hopeful to put in place measures to address the issues affecting young people.
Despite being a relatively small country in terms of population, the Gambia has had high amount of nationals attempting to cross via Libya to Italy. In 2015 and 2016, the Gambia had one of the highest numbers of citizens crossing the Mediterranean. As the nature of migration is illegal, it is difficult to obtain concrete figure on the number leaving the Gambia.
The government is being supported in this drive by major partners, among them the International Organization for Migration and other partners. One of the major programs being initiated is to reduce the unemployment rate among young people.
We don't want to concentrate on the repercussion now, but to really understand what the root causes are and how to support government address those root causes. We do know some of the actions that the government is taking, and I commended His Excellency's government this morning to say that there are a lot of efforts being taken and the UN is there to support the government to address those issues. As again, we're partners and we're very much interested in the development, economic development of the Gambia, and see areas where we can support as the United Nations and as partners to development to address this issue of illegal migration. We do have some enterprise investment programs that we're running with the government.
The Deputy Regional Director of the International Organization for Migration said her organization is committed to ensuring the protection of the welfare of migrants. The European Union ambassador to the Gambia also highlighted some of the difficulties encountered by migrants, adding that this required a multi-sectoral effort.
We witnessed, just last year only, an estimated 5,143 dead or missing migrants in the Mediterranean. Too often, we hear about the difficulties encountered by African migrants stuck in Libya, exposed to torture, violence, slavery, and kidnappings, many of whom are our Gambian brothers and sisters. These stories cannot fall on deaf ears. The need for national governments and the international community as a whole to come together to address issues surrounding migration has become more imperative.
Authorities believe that with the commitment of the European Union and other development partners to support the economic development of the country, through sensitization campaign and creating avenues for young people, such intervention is expected to help address the root causes of irregular migration. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Kumbaba.
More than 30 youths in the Upper River region recently benefited from an entrepreneurship skills training courtesy of the Gambia Investment Promotion Agency, GIPA. Khadijatu Jallo has the details.
The 6-day training in entrepreneurship skills development is part of efforts by the government and her partners to empower youths. Youth leader Babukar Jallo urged the participants to implement the lessons learned.
I have no doubt for the 1 week here, you have gathered a lot for that matter. And I'm urging each and everybody here, please implement it wherever you go in this country or in your community.
MPRETEC coordinator URR chapter Musa Sane said the youth are the cream of society and investing in them saves the future of the country. The Youth Empowerment Project Manager also highlighted the objective of this training in curbing illegal migration.
And the European Union Trust Fund for Africa in the Gambia is sponsoring this youth empowerment project to provide opportunities for you to have a livelihood here in the country, to have an interesting livelihood, not just any employment, but employment that is interesting for you, that is challenging you, and that is building a future for you. By doing that, I think we need to be very clear that if we want to achieve this objective, we're not going to do the activities just focusing on the combos.
Governor Ifatu Jammeh Toure hailed the organizers for considering her region for the training.
I am indeed gratified to see that all of you came with the zeal to acquire knowledge, and you stayed up to the end of the exercise to achieve your goals. There is no government on this earth that can provide employment for all its people. They can create opportunities like the opportunity that is already at your doorstep to make you live a meaningful life. I am proud of you, and I hope this wouldn't be the end from the side of the Youth Empowerment Project. And when next this project comes to train, I would like to see more female participants.
Nafa Jabai, a participant, was immensely appreciative, explaining that the program has enhanced his business skills. At the end of the training, participants were awarded certificates recognizing a week of intensive capacity building, preparing young people for a dynamic job and skills market. Khadijatu Jallo, reporting for GRTS News.
The Gambia Revenue Authority and FBN Bank Wednesday signed a memorandum of understanding. The MOU is part of GRA's efforts to ensure direct collection of taxes and custom duties through the bank. Ominjai picks up the rest of the story.
This Memorandum of Understanding inked between the Gambia Revenue Authority and the FBN Bank is said to be the commencement of a fruitful partnership between the two parties and a step to advance efforts ensuring the direct collection of taxes and custom duties through the bank.
We started the process with the GRA as the agency that helps collect the taxes for the Gambian government. It took us a process. Their due diligence is second to none, I would say. It started with our IT infrastructure. We had to update our software to be compliant with what they have already, which was why we couldn't kickstart this earlier on.
The commercial bank commenced its operations in the Gambia in 2014 and has since then showed high-level commitment in service delivery. The Memorandum of Understanding will hugely ease work for the revenue collection body and as well reduce the burden on taxpayers, especially on the risk associated with traveling with cars to GRA from long distance.
As a revenue administration, the Gambia Revenue Authority is totally committed to improving its service delivery at all levels. One of the objectives of the strategic plan of the Gambia Revenue Authority is to ease tax payment.
Showing commitment to improve its service at all levels, the GRA Commissioner General outlined the tax office's readiness to partner with all commercial banks in the Gambia in a bid to ensure reduction on the burden of tax payment.
I wish to congratulate FBN Bank Gambia Limited for meeting the IT infrastructure and other requirements to collect and remit taxes and duties on behalf of GRA. Partnering with commercial banks, in this case FBN Bank, the Gambia Limited has many advantages. Firstly, it offers the taxpayers the option to pay taxes and custom duties at any of the branches throughout the country.
In a nutshell, this is a partnership that we expect to flourish, and we hope that everything will work out well. Just remember that your customers are our taxpayers. Our taxpayers are your customers. So there is mutual benefit here.
The Chairman, Board of Directors, FBN Bank gave words of assurance to GRA officials and pledged proper maintenance of the MOU terms and conditions.
FBN Bank Gambia will live up to your expectations in terms of integrity and standard of operations. We would like to assure you of the unending efficient service that we put at your doorsteps.
We therefore assure you that you are in safe hands. We will guard your money with utmost care, and it is hoped that this relationship that is governed by this MOU will develop from strength to strength.
This partnership could spark the makings of a productive venture, mitigating the burden on tax collection, adding more impetus to economic growth. Ominjai, GRTS.
The Gambia Commission for Refugees has commemorated the country's third annual Congress to End Statelessness. The program, held in partnership with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, took the form of a march past from traffic light to the Ministry of Interior in Kutu. Haji Sumbudung reports.
The Minister of Interior, Mai Fati, said every person has the right to citizenship. He noted that the Gambia is in a crucial negotiation to end statelessness.
Today, the Republic of the Gambia joins other nations in magnifying the importance of I Belong campaign. 3 years ago, the world took a conscious decision that every human being on the face of this earth must belong to a sovereignty. This is not just a symbolic declaration. It is the highest expression of a fundamental human right.
Minister Fati stated that the Interior Ministry will embark on national registration of Gambian to ensure that all citizens have a valid national document.
Every human being on the face of this earth must belong to a sovereignty. This is not just a symbolic declaration. It is the highest expression of a fundamental human right. That every citizen, every individual, every person in every part of the world should belong to a nation, should belong to a family, should belong to a community, and should belong to a nation. A fundamental human right that has galvanized into international instruments to be implemented by nations around the world. The Gambia is no exception.
The head of UNHCR country office, Sao, says statelessness denies individual the rights to national identity and ability to associate with any nation.
Statelessness is lack of nationality. Therefore, a stateless person is a person who lacks or has no nationality. where nationality is the legal bond between a person and a state. Lacking it denies the person not only a sense of identity, but more importantly, the ability to exercise a wide range of rights associated with the nationality status. Therefore, lack of nationality or statelessness can be harmful and, in some cases, devastating to the life of the individual concerned. Similarly, stateless persons or people are prevented from fulfilling their potential, which has some huge knock-on effect for social cohesion and stability.
Reporting for GRTS News, I am Haji Sumbun.
The annual religious pilgrimage of the Murid Brotherhood, the Grand Magal of Tuba, is one of the most important Islamic festivals of the Sufi order in the Senegambia region. Following the return of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba from exile in Gabon between 1895 to 1902, Murids from around the world annually observe Magal Tuba, which constantly attracts followers of the sect and thousands of pilgrims. This year's episode is no exception, and scholars have again journeyed to pay homage to a great scholar. Magal Tuba is celebrated on the 18th of Safar, the second month of the Islamic calendar. Pilgrims gather in the holy Murid city of Tuba to commemorate Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba's life and teachings. We'll take our first commercial break now. The sports news is up. Next, stay tuned.
Cash and don't want to wait?